This morning, a new bill proposed by Wisconsin lawmakers, what changes they want first responders to make.
Plus, we're seeing some light rain right now, but I'll have a look at your full weekend forecast coming up.
Well, happy Saturday, and thanks for waking up with us. I'm your weekend morning anchor, Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Montesano. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Today is Saturday, October 25th. And for some areas, if you step outside, there's a little bit of a wintry mix out there. I know some people aren't ready to hear it, but look, based on radar, we've been seeing a few snowflakes for parts of the region. Now, we're certainly not going to see any accumulation, and most of the area just seeing regular rain showers. But taking a look at the current radar, you can see a mixture of green and purple. That purple indicates some freezing rain. Now, zooming further in, the heaviest freezing rain right now is in the northeastern portion of Dane County, just to the east of DeForest, just north of Marshall. But looking further north of that, near the Dells and Portage, we're seeing some of that freezing rain as well. Now, areas further west, temperatures are a little bit warmer, so that's why most of the areas near the Mississippi River are seeing just rain right now. But for the third morning in a row, Madison did drop below freezing. We're above it right now, middle 30s across Dane County, but still near 40 for areas near the Mississippi. Now, once we get to the later morning, all precipitation will be in the form of regular rain showers. And throughout the day, we're just going to see some scattered light rain, especially kind of early in the day through the middle afternoon. Once we get to the evening, a lot of that precipitation will really clear out of the region. And then tonight and tomorrow, not expected to see much of any rainfall. But for today, the light showers will continue, and even when it's not raining, we'll see cloudy skies with highs in the lower 50s. But Sunday looks a lot better. I'll talk more about that and give you your forecast for next week coming up a bit later.
Thanks, Jacob. We'll be checking in shortly. Topping our news this morning, first responders could start carrying EpiPens soon. A new bill proposed would require all first responders to carry epinephrine. That's the drug used to treat severe allergic reactions, known as anaphylaxis. DHS says over 17,000 first responders would be eligible to receive EpiPens. Supplying each of them with 2 injectors would cost the state at least $2.6 million per year.
This is one more tool that should be in every toolbox for a first responder. If we're preparing for emergency situations, this is one of the common ones that should be part of that training.
The bill defines first responders as conservation wardens, correctional officers, firefighters, law enforcement officers, and emergency medical personnel. So far, the bill has received support from both Democrats and Republicans. Now to a live look at the White House, where the stalemate continues. Today marks day 25 of the government shutdown. The Senate did not meet yesterday. Ontario will pause an anti-tariff ad campaign aimed at the U.S. This comes less than a day after President Trump vowed to end trade negotiations with Canada over an ad using late President Ronald Reagan's voice. It includes excerpts from a 1987 radio address where Reagan says tariffs work, quote, only for a short time and hurt every American worker and consumer. Ontario Premier Doug Ford says the ad will be put on hold starting Monday so that trade talks can resume. The Labor Department's latest inflation report shows while inflation has slowed from August, it remained elevated in September. Consumer prices for a range of goods rose at their fastest pace of 2025 during September. Annually, inflation ticketed up at a rate of 3%, pushing the top line number higher. Gas prices, which shot up 4.1% last month. Still, inflation is rising slower than many economists expected when the president imposed his tariffs, which is a relief for Federal Reserve workers. Now on Wall Street, stocks soared on Friday in reaction to the news. The Dow closed 473 points higher. The Nasdaq is up 263, and the S&P 500 finished the day up 53 points. In your morning health watch, heart disease remains the leading cause of death in the U.S., and construction workers are at an even higher risk due to the physical demands of the job. The American Heart Association Madison held its 10th annual Hard Hats with Heart campaign. That event was Thursday, spotlighting cardiovascular disease and its impact on construction workers. Studies show that 1 in 4 construction workers has high blood pressure, a key risk factor for heart disease and stroke. The goal is to impact the people who work on the ground, helping the Madison area grow every day.
The idea is to impact their lives, teach and bring different programs to them, including like blood pressure screenings, life-saving CPR. There's been the American Heart Association, and because of this event that we've done for 10 years, we've been able to start hands-only CPR training.
Today is National Drug Take Back Day, and if you have any unused or expired meds, 13 locations across Dane County will accept household prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, and even pet meds. In Madison, drop-offs will be at Elver Park, Warner Park, and Mount Zion Baptist Church. That's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Proper disposal prevents misuse, protects the environment, and keeps medications out of the wrong hands. For a full list of sites and times, you can visit safecommunities.org. Still ahead on weekend mornings, why local lawmakers are criticizing State Superintendent of Public Instruction Jill Underly.
So I'll be back with a full look at your weekend forecast and look ahead to Halloween. This is Weekend Mornings.
News 3 Now this morning, moving forward.
Welcome back. At the state capitol, lawmakers from both parties criticized State Superintendent of Public Instruction Jill Underly for skipping a hearing on sexual misconduct in schools. A local newspaper reports that the DPI concealed 200 sexual misconduct cases. That's by allowing staff to voluntarily surrender their education licenses. Underly responded with a video statement, while DPI insists that voluntarily giving up a license is not a loophole. DPI officials say the real issue lies in the wording of the state statute.
Be incredibly helpful for us if we had some sort of statutory definition or terms for grooming to work from.
Quite remarkable that the immoral conduct law has been in place for so long and has been applicable for so long without any concerns raised about its interpretation until an investigative report is published in the Cap Times.
Lawmakers across parties, law enforcement, and DPI agree on one thing. They must find effective ways to prevent sexual misconduct in schools. Community members are frustrated with board members in the town of Vienna. That's after a board meeting about a proposed data center was canceled. Vienna board members canceled the meeting about an hour before its scheduled time. Town clerk Kathleen Clark says they weren't ready to hold the meeting. Roughly a dozen people plan to attend, saying they're hurt because the one thing they wanted from board members is transparency.
What concerns me is that these conversations have been going on for weeks, months, let's say, and there really aren't any, not that I have seen, official information.
But it does affect everybody around here, and so everybody around here should be paying attention, but they can't pay attention if they don't know.
Those who showed up to the canceled meeting say they won't let this disruption stop them from attending meetings in the future. Vienna Town Hall is expected to have another meeting this coming week. Time now, 8:09. Let's check in with meteorologist Jacob Montesano, live from our studio in Madison. He's got your bottom line. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle, Renee. We are going to see some showers throughout the day, very light rain, I should point out. And then we'll see plenty of sunshine for Sunday. And in general, pretty quiet conditions going forward. No big rains, no big temperature swings either. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, still seeing those light showers across the region, also still seeing some of that freezing rain. But notice how that purple is transitioning into all green. That indicates freezing rain turning into actual rainfall. Obviously, with the temperatures warming up, this will soon become all rainfall. But right now, still seeing some of that freezing rain. Again, just to the east and northeast of Dane County. Right now, those of you in Dodge County could see some of that freezing rain. So definitely just take it easy if you're heading anywhere to go out there. The roads definitely could be pretty slick right now. But again, this is going to turn into all rain pretty quickly. And then throughout the afternoon, we're going to continue to see these light showers. Nothing too heavy, maybe some pockets of heavier rain. But for the most part, just some on and off light showers throughout the day, but nothing is expected to be too significant. Then we're going to be dry for the overnight hours. Looking at the forecast, highs will be in the lower 50s today. Plenty of cloud cover even when we're not seeing the rain. A few peaks of sunshine here and there. And then we're going to see almost completely sunny skies for tomorrow. Highs will be near 60. Pretty nice day, all things considered. Now, as we take a look at Monday, also going to be pretty good. A little bit cooler and a little bit breezy, but partly sunny, upper 50s. Definitely could be worse this time of the year. So not too bad of a forecast for that. Now, I do want to mention the Badgers football game. If you happen to be watching and you're going to attend the game, it's going to be a very messy one. This is in Oregon, not here in southern Wisconsin, but not a very not a very good forecast for the Badgers. Plenty of rainfall, thunderstorms likely, and the temperatures aren't going to be that warm either. Now for the Packers game tomorrow, it is going to be a lot better. This is not the Packers forecast. I apologize. That was the forecast for last week. I'll get to the Packers forecast in just a moment, but here's a look at lacrosse's 10-day forecast. Again, nothing big in the temperature department. It will rise for Sunday, Monday, then drop towards the end of next week, and then that's going to be pretty similar to us here in Madison. We are going to see a little bit cooler conditions towards Halloween, but right now not expecting too much rain. But again, the bigger story is the fact that there's not any big rains in the forecast and no big temperature swings. And before I go, here's what was supposed to be the Packers forecast in Pittsburgh. Tomorrow at 7:20, pretty typical football weather, but unlike the Badgers game, there's almost no chance of rain, but definitely dress warm if you plan on attending it.
Jacob, thank you so much. We'll be checking in again shortly. Coming up in your entertainment news, Will Loper, as always, has the 3 things you need to watch. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
On weekend mornings with a little bit of a Halloween dance party out here. As we take a look at the forecast for Halloween, it could be worse. And so we're going to just dance it off as good as the forecast will be. It obviously could be a lot worse, but here's a look at that Halloween forecast. We are going to see partly sunny. Yeah, we're going to have partly sunny skies throughout the day. We'll have a little bit more cloud cover once we get closer to trick-or-treating hours. Maybe some light rain overnight, but it could be a lot worse for sure. And I also want to point out, we'll continue to update the forecast accordingly. But right now, it doesn't look too bad. And as I mentioned, it could be a lot worse. It pretty much was 2 years ago. We had temperatures only in the 30s, and we also had some snow that day. Now, last year, we also had some rain, but temperatures not too bad. 3 years ago, very comfortable. Temperatures in the 60s, and then 2020 and 2021, pretty close to normal. Kind of like what we're going to see this year. And as we look at the average high, that high of 51, very close to the average. And you don't have to go that far back to see the snowiest Halloween for Madison. 4 inches back in 2019, approximately 9% of Halloween, so about 1 in 10, do feature some snowfall, and I don't expect to see any for this Halloween. But you said you remember 2019 back in Chicago?
Yes, I remember 2019 and 2018 was also pretty snowy, if I recall correctly. And I'm just glad that we don't have snow right here yet in our forecast, because those kiddos do not need to freeze.
Yeah, I don't expect to see any snow. Like I said, there's a possibility of some rain overnight, and I'll continue bringing the updated forecast for Halloween as it gets closer, of course.
Thanks, Jacob. And you guys know there's never a shortage of films and shows streaming.
Our Will Loper shares a few of the best in this weekend's 3 things to watch.
Come from a showbiz family.
And now the comedy of
Stiller and Mira.
Jerry Stiller and Ann Mira.
Ann Mira and Jerry Stiller.
Watch a story of parenthood with Stiller and Mira. Nothing is lost. Newly streaming on Apple TV+.
When they were working, I remember sometimes hearing laughter, sometimes hearing raised voices, never knowing if that was real or them rehearsing something.
We don't know Ben. That's why we're so messed up.
Ben Stiller directs the documentary about his parents, Jerry and Ann, as they juggled careers in entertainment and raising 2 kids.
Your father was a kind of a saint. Your mom kind of scared me a little bit. She'd look at me and I could tell she knows you're up to no good.
So this one Wednesday is like a normal day for the whole school. But today was different.
Watch one of the best films of the year with Weapons, newly streaming on HBO Max.
The truth is that I want an answer just as bad as all of you.
We're talking about 17 kids in one classroom. I want to know what happened in that classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
The horror film follows the disappearance of an entire classroom of kids except one, and the parents and town people's search for answers.
Leave the investigating to the investigators.
Noah and I are figuring out how to be a we. Ew.
Hello. So you're converting to Judaism?
No, we're gonna do the whole, interfaith thing.
Well.
Do you guys want to sidebar this till after dinner?
And navigate a new relationship with Nobody Wants This Season 2, newly streaming on Netflix.
Part of being in a relationship
is dealing with these issues, and we will.
I feel like we've been saying that a lot lately.
Kristen Bell and Adam Brody return as the podcaster and rabbi, figuring out how to make things work.
What a special moment for the three of us to share.
Those are the 3 things you need to watch, and this is Will Loper for Weekend Mornings.
For me, it was like the grandma on the side or whoever that
Yeah.
was holding hands.
Have you seen that show?
I have not.
So me and my wife enjoy that show. Haven't gotten to the season yet. I heard it's really good, but you should give it a try. It's like a rom-com TV show, but it's pretty good. You know, it's not. It's funny. It's got the cheesy moments that any rom-com does, but I think it's actually better than the average rom-com, I'd say for sure. So
Okay.
it was nominated for like Golden Globes and Emmys too. So
Okay, well,
and critically
Kristen Bell
acclaimed, too.
is one of the
yeah, Kristen
top-
Bell's really good. I like her a lot.
And anything she's in is usually pretty good.
Yeah, she's real funny.
Well, before we head to break, here's a look at last night's winning numbers.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up, I'll talk about the entire weekend forecast yet again and give you your current radar.
Stick with us. Coming up, we're talking about the barn attack involving a 14-year-old boy. This is Weekend Mornings. Keep it here. This morning, charges are filed in the attack on a 14-year-old boy at an Iowa County barn.
Plus, we're seeing a few showers right now, but I'll have a look at your entire weekend forecast coming up.
And Andrew Banstra is bringing you week 1 of the playoffs in this weekend's final drive. Well, good Saturday morning, and thanks for waking up with us today. I'm Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm Jacob Montesano. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Today is Saturday, October 25th, and for the first time this season, we're talking about a wintry mix out there.
No!
I know people are not ready to hear it. Now,
Not.
for the record, very, very light, and the wintry mix is going to turn into all rain very soon with the temperatures warming up.
Okay,
But
I think I can handle that this morning.
But let's take a look at the current radar. Not all green. There's a little bit of some purple indicating some freezing rain. We can also see a lot of that purple kind of becoming all green, but still seeing a little bit of that freezing rain linger around. Now, right now, most of that freezing rain is to the east of Madison, and in general, temperatures from Madison and areas to the east have been cooler than areas to the west. But looking at that freezing rain just to the northeast of Dane County across Dodge and also parts of Columbia County. And so if you are in these areas and really across any part of the region, just take it a little bit slow this morning as we could see some slick roads with those cool temperatures. And speaking of the temperatures, right now in the middle 30s for Madison and surrounding areas. Temperatures are near 40 for the Mississippi River, and this was the 3rd morning in a row that Madison dropped below freezing. And just for reference, we're in the time of the year where we're no longer going to see any freeze warnings or frost advisories because that's pretty typical at this point in time as the growing season is just about over. Now, looking at the forecast for the rest of the day, a few light showers are going to continue. Again, this is going to be all rain in about an hour, and then throughout the afternoon, we're only going to see rain, no wintry mix. But as we get into the overnight hours or closer to the evening, that rain will clear up, and I do want to point out any rain that does fall will be very light. But tomorrow's looking a lot better than today. I'll talk more about that and give you a glimpse at your Halloween forecast still coming up later in the show.
Jacob, thank you. We'll be checking in shortly. In this weekend's top stories, 4 people are now charged in the attack on a 14-year-old boy at an Iowa County barn. 18-year-old Carson Knight, 20-year-old Richard Offerdahl III, and 17-year-old Claudio Valdivia were each charged with child abuse, battery, and disorderly conduct. Attorneys say a 4th person is also charged, but their name is being withheld due to their age. Video of the attack went viral online. It shows a 14-year-old African-American boy being beaten by a group of white males. At one point, someone can be heard uttering an anti-black racial slur. However, it is not clear who said the slur in the video. One person is recovering after an overloaded crane fell onto a skyjack scissor lift on Madison's southeast side. This happened just before noon yesterday. Firefighters were called to a partial building collapse near where the Beltline meets I-90. Now, the heavy urban rescue team examined that damage and found it was too early in the construction to need bracing or emergency repairs. The injured person suffered non-life-threatening injuries and is expected to recover. Now to our continuing coverage on the Madison housing crisis. The city is now looking for private sector help to pay for a new homeless shelter. The Madison mayor has also budgeted $1 million in taxpayer money. Right now, Shelter Friends of Dane County Incorporated is working to raise money. That's about $1 million. for the county's new men's homeless shelter. Mayor Rhodes Conaway says the city is expected to spend even more money on the project.
And I am proud to announce that the City of Madison will match the first $2 million in contributions to the Shelter Friends of Dane County Endowment Fund.
The mayor says that fund will primarily be used as a savings account meant to provide sustainable funding for shelter operations. The city is getting the money from federal ARPA funds, which need to be spent by the end of 2026. By then, the shelter should be up and running. Wisconsin will not be getting federal disaster assistance to cover the cost of rebuilding after August's severe storms and flooding. Governor Tony Evers says the Trump administration denied the state's application for public assistance for Door, Grant, Milwaukee, Ozaukee, Washington, and Waukesha counties. In a letter to the governor's office, FEMA says using public assistance is, quote, not warranted based on preliminary damage assessments. Assessments found that damages totaled more than $26 million. The governor says he will appeal the decision. Meanwhile, across Dane County, the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission is working to prevent floods in rural Wisconsin. Through surveys of public road creek crossings, a team from the commission is able to put together a detailed report of the bridges and culverts. This is to help smaller communities who may not have the resources. It gives them a better understanding when it comes to preventing that severe storm damage.
So what we're able to do with this data is inform the towns about the condition of their infrastructure to help them prioritize and make informed decisions about where to focus first to improve that infrastructure so that they can safely pass big stormwater events.
The goal is to keep towns in Dane County aware and prepared for potential severe storms. In addition to safety measures, the project also documents fish passages and stream health in the region. You can find a link to the reports at channel3000.com. And let's bring meteorologist Jacob Montesano back to the desk. How do you see this impacting us?
Well, let me just say, I really find this project interesting because I've never actually, seen, communities like pinpointing the actual areas that are most vulnerable. You always hear like, oh, there's going to be a big flood risk, but usually, you kind of view it over a wide area. It seems like this is more pinpointing the specific locations, like, oh, this bridge is very susceptible during floods, this area more
maybe
like,
it's too narrow, that won't get by.
I think that's really interesting. I think more towns should, jump on this because obviously, and now's the time to look at this stuff because this is probably the least, this time of year through the winter, least likely time to see the flooding concerns. Obviously, when you get to the spring, you see it a little bit more, but really interesting. I've never heard of that, and I like it a lot. I like that idea for sure.
And I know you mentioned that after winter, the snow can melt and that can also add to flooding. So it's really important to have these areas designated and known because that might be a concern in January?
Yeah, more so March and April, but yeah, from now through about February, you're not really having a big flood concern, still possible, but once you get to those spring months, that's when the flooding concern can really happen, especially if you get that snow melt on top of heavy rain. That can always be a bad combination.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Jacob. Well, we'll have more on our current precipitation chances coming up in Jacob's full forecast. But first, Andrew Banstra will bring us week 1 of the playoffs in this week's final drive. And before we head to break, we are celebrating a birthday. Today, Kane is 3. Happy birthday from everyone here on Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
The high school football regular season is in the rear view, and the playoffs are here. Welcome to the final drive. I'm Andrew Banstra. Teams in our area played 37 games tonight, and we're going to bring you the result from every single one. So let's get right into it, starting with Waunakee. The Warriors were a perfect 9-0 this season and won the Badger Large. But this group has bigger goals, hosting Chippewa Falls. And remember, this is the same Chippewa Falls team that nearly knocked off Middleton in Level 1 last year, and they were back in Madison to cause more madness, getting the first score of the game in the second quarter. But the Warriors were one of 3 Division I teams with an undefeated record for a reason. Cole Krause rips off a deep ball and connects with his man Cooper Johans. Wow, what a play. And to finish off the drive, how about this? The recent Wisconsin football commit, McCoy Smith, recruited for his defense, but he can run the ball too. The Warriors shockingly needed overtime to beat the 8th-seeded Cardinals, but they get the W 28-21 in overtime. Looking at more Division I scores, Madison West, they can't get the job done against Muskego, and Sun Prairie East, they see their season come to an end as well. Middleton lost week 1, but have been perfect ever since. The Big 8 champs only got a 3 seed, though, but level 1 is no big deal for the Cardinals, who have reached this stage and won it every year since 2018. But we mentioned it was a close call in level 1 last year, not this time around. At halftime, the Cardinals already leading, ready for this, 42-0. And looking for more, Joey Pisaglia scrambles and fires, finding his man Jackson Guerrero, who gets the job done. And that's just a sample size of what we saw tonight. Hamilton eventually found the end zone, but make no mistake about it, this one was all Middleton. They move on to level 2, winning 63-8. Moving down to Division II, where Monona Grove would look to keep flying high. They went 8-1 this season, their first 8 win in the regular season since 2018. They were hosting Brookfield Central, and let me tell you what, Monona Grove was not messing around. First drive of the game, and how about Jackson Zakowski? He gets the score and does it with ease. In Monona Grove, they were just getting started, this time doing it on the defensive end. How about this? Robbie Olson, well, he's going to force the safety on the Lancers. Check this out. Tackles him, brings him down, and that is 2 more points for MG, who goes on to win it 39-8, the final score. More Division II scores. Beaver Dam gets into the playoffs barely, but they can't get it done, losing to River Falls. And Milton, who had a magnificent season, they cannot get the job done against Pulaski, 23-20, the final score. Moving down to Division III, where Edgewood has some wrongs to right. Sauk Prairie spoiled their undefeated season last week, robbing them of an outright Badger Small title. The Crusaders have a chip on their shoulder heading into the postseason, and they would absolutely show it off tonight at Breeze Stevens Field, hosting Rhinelander. And how good has number 5 been? The QB, Gannon Bagstead, fires it off on the screen pass, and he finds his man, Will Kelly. And you can catch him later, not going to get him, and the Crusaders find their way into the end zone, and later they do it on the ground. Carter Soma runs in past the pylon, getting the job done, and they cruise to the Crusaders to the victory, 35-7, the final score. Elsewhere in Division III, a couple of sad endings to good seasons for teams in our area. Jefferson loses to Catholic Memorial, and McFarland, they find themselves losing to Whitnall 42-0. And we send it to Nash Dara for another fantastic game.
Mount Horeb Barneveld is a force to be reckoned with, but for their standards, we're humbled a little bit in the regular season. The Vikings have something to prove in the playoffs and certainly have the talent to do it, hosting the Lumberjacks of Wausau East in level 1 of the playoffs. But the Vikings get the first chop, 3rd and 11 in the first quarter. Brooks Hendrickson completes a pass to tight end Henry DeRosier. A 2-point conversion later would make it 8-0. We go then to the second quarter, another 3rd and 11 pass to complete to wide receiver Django Christian, who spins and spins his way into the end zone. Mount Horeb would go on to win 31-7.
Nash, what a season it's been so far for Mount Horeb. Hopefully more to come for them. We mentioned how good Sauk Prairie was this season. They lose a shocker to Pewaukee 31-10, and Reedsburg, they move on, beating Waterford 49-24. Down in Division 4 with our first friendly fire. Two teams from our area going at it. Lodi, a 3 seed, hosting Platteville in a good old-fashioned Southwest Wisconsin showdown. Lodi would see the only points of the first half with a touchdown. But Platteville, well, they came out of the half hungry to find the scoreboard, and they would find it right away with a bulldozing touchdown from their running back, Tyler Sassy, who put some sass on it. They'd finally get into the end zone with the Hellman, and they'd tie it up later. Now Lodi, it's Casey Fleshman. You're not going to get him. I guess in this case, maybe you do. But they'd get the job done getting it into the end zone on the very next play. Or would they? Platteville with the interception. See you later. And the Hillmen with an absolute stunning win over Lodi, winning it 37-30. Staying in Division 4, Columbus shows why they're a 1 seed, dominating Brown Deer 60-15. More Division 4 scores. Evansville advances easily 40-0, while Beloit Turner sees their season come to an end 41-7, the score there. More in D4 with another postseason pairing featuring two of our own. Lake Mills, a 4 seed, hosting the 5 seed, Edgerton. And this is the kind of matchup you live for in the playoffs. However, it was only one team that was really ready for the test. Lake Mills would get on the board on their very first drive of the game, feeding their running back, Caden Smolinski. Later, well, it would be more running back action. A pitch to Camdy Tandy Habich, who says, how about we get one more touchdown, blockers in front, and he gets the job done. And unfortunately, it was just not Edgerton's night. They'd fall to the L-Cats in absolute shocking fashion, 42-0, the score there. Down to Division 5, finishing off a trio of friendly fire. Another duo in our area duking it out for a chance to advance to Level 2. New Glarus coming off their best season in well over a decade, hosting Clinton. And man, did New Glarus look every bit the part. They do it on the ground early and often. Matt Roth hands off to his running back, Carson Pretzel. And you can just about forget about it. Putting Clinton into a pretzel, you could say. And they were just getting started. Later on, it's Milo Johnson. He spins his way in. And Johnson, speaking of just getting started, was going to get it done once more. MJ into the end zone as New Glarus wins it. And they don't leave any doubt about it. 43-0, the final score. Elsewhere in Division 5, Richland Center and Lancaster, they both lose, ending their 2025 campaigns. More D5, Watertown Luther Prep, they can't pull off the upset. And a stunner here. How good was River Valley this season? They were fantastic, but they can't get the job done against Durand, Arkansas. 40-21, they lose. Down to Division 6, where Darlington, well, of course, they move on 55-14. And Waterloo, unfortunately, did not advance. Manitowoc won this matchup. Meanwhile, Cambridge, they can't get the job done. They were fantastic this year, losing to Wyowega Fremont 21-7, and Fenimore beats Mineral Point 50-7. And it was more D6 woes here, at least for Marshall. They lose to Bangor. But how about this for an upset? Markesan, who came into this game 9-0, well, they go home with a loss as Belleville, the 7 seed, sends them home 42-14. Closing the door on Division 6 as we go on to the very next score. It's Poynette defeating Howard's Grove 53-16. Down to Division 6, where Blackhawk Warren, they beat River Ridge in a shootout. Or was it 8-6, the final score there. Johnson Creek, the 2 seed, handing it to the 7 seed Clear Lake. Our Blue Jays move on 48-7. Elsewhere in Division 7, the reigning state runner-up Potosi Cassville, they run their way on to Level 2. But Randolph, they can't get it done, losing to Coleman 44-6. More D7 scores. Seneca Wazeeka Steuben, they hand it to Ithaca 30-14. And one last score to check. Belmont, this in the 8-man division. They can't get it done in Level 2, losing to the Oaks of Oakfield 32-26.
Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. We'll see some showers continue throughout the day with sunshine on Sunday. And in general, we're going to see very quiet conditions going forward. Not any big rains and not any big temperature swings either. So looking at the current radar, still seeing mostly showers with a few of those isolated freezing rain spots, mainly to the east and northeast of Madison. These are expected to kind of fizzle out into all rainfall over the next hour or so. Also want to mention a little bit heavier rain near the Dells. Still nothing too significant though. And in general, we're going to continue to see some on and off light showers throughout the day, maybe some pockets of moderate rain, but nothing is expected to be too heavy. And at any point when it does rain, it likely will clear out very quickly afterwards. And then once we get to the evening and overnight, the rain will completely clear out, which will lead to sunny skies for Sunday. So looking at the forecast for today, even when it's not raining, we are going to see plenty of cloud cover with highs in the lower 50s. But then tomorrow, much nicer, highs near 60. And as I mentioned, plenty of sunshine, almost no chance of rain. Continuing forward from there, we are going to see sunshine continue for Monday with those temperatures a little bit above normal again, upper 50s, some breezy weather though. Overall pretty seasonable, just a few degrees above that normal high of 55. And as we take a look at that Halloween forecast again, it is going to be pretty good. Overall high of around 50. Might get a little chilly once we get towards the evening hours, but still, it could certainly be a lot worse. Now, as we take a look at the Badger football game forecast, this is going to take place in Oregon. And if you're watching this and happen to be attending the game, it's not going to be very pleasant there. Plenty of rainfall, temperatures rather chilly, and a few thunderstorms are possible as well. Now, the good news is that if you plan on attending the Packers game, it's going to be a lot better in Pittsburgh tomorrow at 7:20 p.m. Typical football weather, a little chilly, definitely dress warm, but it is going to be clear, a lot clearer compared to that Badger football game in Oregon. Now, as we take a look at the full 10-day forecast, again, some light rain today, maybe some light rain Tuesday, Wednesday. Temperatures will rise for Sunday, Monday before slowly falling down towards the end of the week, but those highs near 60 and then the highs near 50 toward the end of the week, both are not too far off from the normal high, which is supposed to be in the middle 50s this time of the year. So a pretty quiet forecast with not a lot of rainfall, and for the most part, temperatures are going to be pretty steady over the next 10 days. Now, still to come, we're sharing 2 Madison artists making billboards, and you're watching Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. Well, today's playlist pick is the song Stay Go from hip-hop artists Trustin and Backwoods. Both are Madison homegrown musicians hitting the Billboard charts with this single. Our Chris Hawbaker brings you the beats in this weekend's Morning Notes.
She just wanna go, 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 go. I just wanna stay, 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 stay. She don't wanna no, 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 no. I've been doing the same old.
About 3 years ago, we actually re-recorded it in Los Angeles and then shot a music video for it and put it out with an EP called Neverland.
Why you call, why you text, why you on my line? Yeah, acting like you left, yeah, I know you mind.
Me and Backwoods were just really tuned in together. Started to get notifications from Spotify. Oh, you're on the Luxembourg charts. And then I'm looking like, oh, I'm right next to Taylor Swift.
I don't really wanna go home no more.
My record label gives me a call and tells me that I'm actually on the Billboard charts in Luxembourg. And, I didn't even know where that was. So I had to go look on Google Maps and figure it out. It'd be fun to, go perform there one day or something like that. But, yeah, definitely a really cool surprise for sure.
Wanna waste my time, yeah, I've never been the type to just let it go.
It's huge. I mean, a Billboard is really probably the biggest thing you can do as a musician other than maybe winning some kind of award like a Grammy or something.
Me know you wanna fly too, that might catch this flight.
Go down to the farmer's market or, you'll go to the Union maybe and, grab a drink with your friends. A lot of local artists are playing those venues and Madison does have a hip-hop scene and there's a lot of artists that have kind of set the tone and set the pace.
She just wanna go, 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 go. I just wanna stay, 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 stay.
Anyone who is in that stage of, growing, and especially if they're a local artist here, I hope that, I can, inspire them to continue to keep going no matter what stage they're at. Because if you keep going, if you don't give up, you can't lose.
Live your life like it's alright. Let me know you wanna fly.
The fact that it kind of is, really getting the recognition that I think it deserves just as a songwriter and the work we put into it, I think that it's really awesome.
A special thanks to photojournalist Chris Hawbaker reporting there. Don't forget to create a weekend playlist with us. Send me a song with the subject playlist pick to Mr. Quinn at WISC-TV.com and tune in on weekend mornings to hear your song. Keep it here. Today's morning motivation is...
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. The Henry Vilas Zoo will soon welcome another polar bear to Madison. Meet Sikyu. This is a 15-year-old male bear from the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago. He'll be moving to Madison for a breeding recommendation in the coming weeks. His arrival coincides with the anticipated arrival of Nora, a female polar bear that's set to come from Portland. Both will join 26-year-old female Barrett, and no word yet on any exact dates of when those bears will arrive, so keep an eye out. And we would like to apologize to our viewers who tuned in last night for Wisconsin Huddle. Due to a technical error, that show did not air, but the newest episode featuring Wisconsin Hall of Famer Joe Thomas is available online right now at channel3000.com, and it'll air during its regular time of 11 a.m. today on our sister channel, WISC-TV 3.2.
And we're wrapping up this morning with some morning motivation. This quote was chosen by Nissa, our editor. It's from Beyonce.
She says, your self-worth is determined by you. You don't have to depend on anyone else's opinion of you. And I always say, your opinion matters the most.
Yeah, and don't be too hard on yourself. You know, everyone's going through something at certain points. Just because you're not at your goal doesn't mean you're not doing work to get there. So just
Absolutely.
Be positive about yourself.
Be positive. You guys got this. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for watching. Coming up next is Mission Unstoppable, and our next newscast is coming up at 6 p.m. Find us streaming always 24/7 on Channel 3000+.